Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Marcus, for the introduction and all the previous presentations. Our talk is specifically on visualizations, but all the talks that we've heard so far have talked about data visualization, so hopefully this won't be too much of a stretch. So my name is Calvin Yang, and my co-presenter is Michelle Tang, and we both work in the Surface Water Ambient Monitoring Program in the Office of Information Management and Analysis, which is under the State Water Resources Control Board. And the title of our talk is to analyze using data visualizations to drive organizational change at the water boards. So I'm going to talk about big picture, what is data visualization, what is organizational change, and then we're going to go through a few examples of data visualizations that were created at the water boards and are also used at the water boards. So like everyone's mentioned, data visualization is used because it translates data into information. A visualization allows the user to organize and analyze data so it can be turned into information. Instead of spreadsheets, which is at the top of this slide, a visualization allows the user to communicate their findings to colleagues and management through maps, graphs, and summary statistics. A dashboard, which is a type of visualization shown here, is also an interactive report, which means they can map or graph a specific data set or a group of data sets based on what the user is interested in. So what is organizational change? It is using the data to make informed decisions, it is communicating the data better, and it is being transparent with the data. So here's a screenshot of a story on mercury concentration in largemouth bass. It is from the 2018 Water Quality Status Report, and it uses the ArcGIS Story Map interface. You can scroll through the stories on the left, and if you click on any visualization that you're interested in, it will pop up on the right panel, allowing you to view the visualization much easier. The Water Quality Status Report is an annual data-driven snapshot of the water board's water quality and ecosystem data. So the first dashboard I'll go through is this dashboard called the Bioassessment Regional Snapshots. And what the visualization does is it summarizes and displays bioassessment data from swamps to statewide monitoring programs, which is the Perennial Streams Assessment and Reference Condition Monitoring Program. And it summarizes that data by the state level and regional board level. So in this question that I posed on this slide, if you want to know what the reference conditions are for all the streams in the Central Valley region, or Region 5, and the way reference is defined, it's streams with minimum human disturbance, you could select the Central Valley region boundary, and then you could select the reference category. And this second map here in the middle will populate all the reference sites that are within the Region 5 boundary. Once you do that, this summary table here, which is a lot easier on your own screen to read, but what it shows is it shows the minimum, the median, the maximum, and the average values for all of those results that were collected at all of these sites. So just to point out just one number, the median for conductivity out of 181 results from all of these reference sites was 78 microsiemens per centimeter. In contrast to that, if you were to select, say, San Diego Regional Board, well, this dashboard is a lot more interactive, it's just a slide. If you were to click on that, the summary table would repopulate down here. And the median for all the reference sites in the San Diego region is 449 microsiemens per centimeter. And then also on this dashboard, there's also a bar graph, which also is just another way of showing what the median result is and for all the different parameters that were collected at each of these sites. And so there's buttons or radio buttons to select for CSEI, chlorophyll A, ash-free dry mass, total phosphorus, total nitrogen, so you could select on a specific parameter if you want to look at just that. next visualization I'll go over is this post-fire dashboard, and it was created with data that's stored in the California Environmental Data Exchange Network, the California Integrated Water Quality System, the Stormwater Multiple Application Report Tracking System, and GeoTracker databases. So these are all the multiple databases that are in that are being maintained at the state water boards, and all this data has been uploaded to the Open Data Portal. So I download data from that portal to create this visualization. This dashboard can be used to filter monitoring stations, groundwater wells, and regulated facilities that are located within the wildfire perimeter. It also highlights available water quality data, water quality monitoring data that can be used in responding post-fire. So the way this dashboard works is it's similar to the Bioassessment's regional snapshots, where I have these different shape files for all the different fires. I only chose just a few just to start. This is not meant to be, here's all the fires that we've obviously had in the past. So if you click on one, so this example I clicked on car fire, and so this map zooms in all the monitoring stations and wells that are within the car fire that are that the water boards has data for. So if you hover over the car fire shapefile, these CAL FIRE statistics will pop up displaying more information about that wildfire from CAL FIRE. And if you wanted to hover over a site, so this example I have here, so this is a swamp bioassessment site. I can't say it already, but so if you hover over a site, a pop-up will show the name of the station, what was sampled there, and actually which database stores that data. So you can see within the car fire, there were stations within all these 4 different databases that were located within that fire. And now, Michelle Tang is going to present some of the other water boards data visualizations that we are using.
So in the next part of this presentation, I want to cover 2 data visualizations that were created by other staff in the State Water Board. And this is just to give a broader view of how data visualization So this is just, can you hear me? So this is just to give a broader view of how data visualization is being used at the water boards in different contexts and also different areas of our organization. Okay, so the Central Valley Regional Water Board earlier this year started weekly sampling for E. coli bacteria along the Lower American River, the Sacramento River, and near the mouth of Steelhead Creek. And so they provide monitoring results to Sacramento County health officials and park managers, who then review that data and decide whether or not to post warnings or restrict access to the waterway. So originally, the regional board staff recorded all of the results in Google Sheets, and then they handed this over to the county officials. But over time, members of the public started requesting access to the data too. So the regional board staff created a web map interface, which they built on top of Google Sheets, basically to better communicate the monitoring results to both the county health officials as well as the public. So the map shows where they collected the samples, as well as whether the current E. coli samples exceed the 2012 US EPA recreational water quality criteria. So the colored icons that you see, the green, the yellow, and the red, those are based on whether the average E. coli levels or the most recent E. coli level fall above or below those criteria. So So the main purpose of the map is really to deliver timely information about current E. coli levels to health officials and the public. And so the Google Sheet that I showed you before is updated weekly, and any new results are pushed to the map within 24 hours, and it's usually much, much quicker than that. So timely data is really important in this instance, so that basically public health officials can take action when exceedances are detected, and they can protect public health that way. So engagement with the map has been strong, and interest is growing. Alicia Wenzel, who's one of the staff at the Central Valley Regional Water Board who contributed to the development of this map, mentioned that since they've published the map, that a lot more people seem to know what E. coli is and why we're monitoring for it. And then also cursory numbers show about an average of 60 visits per day, but when the map is picked up by the media or by a press release, they can see up to 2,000 hits per day. So kind of based on the results of this map, the success of the map, the Central Valley Regional Water Board is now looking into using data visualization for other E. coli monitoring projects. And this map in particular has really changed the way that the regional board communicates the monitoring results to a general audience. And it has also changed the way that staff enter monitoring results and then see that data published on a public platform. So the other visualization that I want to highlight is a dashboard created by the Office of Enforcement at the State Water Board. And so the main role of the Office of Enforcement is to ensure that violations of orders and permits issued by the State Water Board result in firm, fair, and consistent enforcement. So one of these units, in the office, Fraud, Waste, and Abuse Prevention Unit, investigates fraud committed against the State Water Board Underground Storage Tank, or UST, cleanup fund. So staff in this unit, they develop cases against claimants and contractors who submit false or inflated invoices for reimbursement. So as you can probably imagine, investigating potential cases of fraud can be complex and very time-consuming. Staff typically have to sort through very large data sets and sort through thousands of documents. So there's always that question of, how do we cut through all the noise, and where should staff be spending, where should staff look to make the most use of their time? So Jared Ramsey Lewis, who's a water resource control engineer in the Office of Enforcement, uses data visualization to answer those questions. And he developed a dashboard, which you see on the slide, to basically detect significant billing discrepancies. And so he loads the invoicing data into the dashboard, and he can view the data, summarize it, slice and dice it in different ways, and also drill down into the specifics. So for one particular case, Jared noticed signs that a contractor may have overbilled for labor hours. And so no matter how he viewed the data in his dashboard, the numbers would never add up. So he had questions like, how could one person be in 2 distant sites on the same day and log that many hours? So that detail and others uncovered by data visualization was enough to show probable cause, which resulted in a search warrant. And so on the top of the slide, there's one of the invoices and also one of the timesheets associated with this case. And so as the investigation progressed, data visualization was used again to show exactly how the contractor was committing fraud. So the graph that you see on the bottom shows the invoiced hours, which are the gray bars, graphed against the actual hours recorded in the timesheet, which is the blue line. So with using data visualization, it's easy to see exactly how they padded those hours. So the Office of Enforcement, they use data visualization to inform prioritization and decision-making on enforcement issues. Data visualization has also changed the way that they communicate findings to a general audience. So internally, that includes management and other staff, and outside of the organization, that includes attorneys, judges, and also the state attorney general. So data visualization, for a long time, staff had to sort through mountains of paper, but the introduction of data visualization was a way to finally link those documents to the data. And although paper is still used, what was mainly a paper process back then is now an electronic process. And then finally, data visualization has made it possible to integrate data from other sources. So staff have experimented with introducing new data sets, like data on disadvantaged communities, to see where there might be overlap. So I know that Jared's work in the Office of Enforcement is not directly related to bioassessment, but I think the same concepts of data visualization apply. And as Calvin mentioned earlier, as many other presenters mentioned earlier, effective data visualization is all about translating data into information. And the data may be different, and it may be with varying degrees of complexity, but the end goal is still the same, which is to facilitate the flow of information and to support informed data-guided decisions. So I also want to mention, it was mentioned in the morning that it's really important that these visualizations show data in the context of management needs. And I think these visualizations really work well in the sense that they were designed to address the specific public health or enforcement issues. And then finally, I also want to mention that effective data visualization can improve transparency and efficiency in our everyday work. So the two data visualizations that I just showed and the ones that Calvin presented together represent some of the diverse ways in which data visualization is used at the water boards. And the examples here are just some of the visualizations that only a handful of the water board staff have made, but there are many other visualizations being created to better tell a story with data. So before I end our presentation, I just want to give credit to all the people who created the visualizations and also provide the links to where you can view them yourself. All of them are public, with the exception of the Office of Enforcement dashboard, just because that one contains a lot of confidential information. And that, so that's the end of our presentation, and here's our contact information if you have any follow-up questions or comments. Thank you.